Hi guys, welcome in.
Hello.
So today's guest, well, of course, I'm Tracie. This is Ju. Say hi, Ju. She's my cohort in all this. And then today's guest is Evelyn. Evelyn, what's your last name again?
I'm Evelyn Izaks, and yeah, I'm getting interviewed by you and by you, so I'm curious, yeah, what I can contribute.
Okay, yay. So just so you guys know, anybody watching this, we are aware of the glitches in this platform. We're going to be trying some new platforms, Ju and I, hopefully today, to see if we can find one that's less glitchy. The problem is we're interviewing people all around the world, and internet can be spotty at any time, so just bear with us. Turn your volume up, and we'll do the best we can. All right. I'm not sure, but I think there is an option on YouTube where I can put a transcript, but I'd have to research it and add it to the videos over maybe the holiday here, because I think, Ju, we might take next week off for the holiday and then come back after that. So I'm losing my voice. It might be nice to have a little break from all the talking.
Yeah, and it's
So,
family time, right? I think social media detox wouldn't be so bad for all of
right,
us, right?
right, because I just made 24 40-minute videos.
Exactly.
All right, so welcome, Evelyn. Evelyn lives over in where?
I'm from the Netherlands, yeah.
The Netherlands. Okay, you said like Zurich area,
It's
somewhere over
Dutch.
there. Okay. Okay. Well, welcome. Evelyn has a story to tell us about her awakening, and she's going to talk hopefully a little bit about her vlog or blog that you put up. I love it. I absolutely love it. I think I was the inspiration for her to translate it to English so we can enjoy it over here in the States.
You are.
And I read it every morning, just so you know. I get up every morning and read anything that you posted, and you're doing great work. So I'm going to turn it over to you and let you, kind of tell us anything you want or feel comfortable to tell us about your childhood, your awakening, and what brought you to the Lightworker community and what you're doing today, because you're making great, I think you're seeding the planet with some great consciousness. And I believe you're a channel. I don't know if you look at yourself like a channel, but the things that you write, I believe, are channeled through you and inspired for you. And I think it's beautiful. So we invited you on, and I'm glad to have you here. So you can take the mic anytime now.
Well, first, very grateful for having this opportunity. It feels like an honor, and I will start with how I first saw a video from Rich Lop, how he um, told something about how or why Aquarians are the way they are. And I started following him on YouTube, and then I saw the interview from the Awakening Experience, and you were there, Tracie, and so I started watching your channel. And I started my journey, I think, in 2008. Um, I came out of a relationship, and I didn't know why, but I started seeing numbers, 1111, 555. And I have always been very interested in magical things. As a child, I could see spirits. I didn't know that wasn't normal or not normal. It scared me because I felt nobody believed me, and so I tucked it away.
Right.
And
Boy, I know that one.
when I was 16, I got very ill. Um, and I ended up on the ICU, and nobody thought I would make it. I've been on the ICU on the ventilator for almost 4 weeks, and I survived. And
Yeah.
during that time, I had a lot of paranormal experiences. I didn't know how to explain them to myself. All I knew is when I woke up is, for example, I knew my niece was pregnant before anyone told the family or me. And when they told me, I was like, I already knew that. When I was in the ICU, I was both in my physical body and outside. I
Right.
was everywhere. I could feel and see things that I couldn't explain. I was on some sort of spaceship
Mhm.
where, and that was very frightening because there was a being that was very malicious towards me, and there was a voice which I identified as Merlin. I never know why, but it resonated with me, and he was helping me. He was guiding me through, like, go this way, go that way. And I had the experience of being on, I think, in the 18th century, an old boat, and I couldn't comprehend, but I was there and I could see past lives, or maybe someone else's past life. I couldn't recognize, but I knew I was everywhere and nowhere.
Right.
And when I woke up, I survived. And because I had been talking in my head and responding, because despite the fact people think you are in an artificial coma or maybe dead or in a coma, you do hear
Right.
things. You reply in your head. So it's telepathical.
Right.
And it took me months, if someone would ask me how my day was, that I would realize, oh, I have to say it out loud because people won't hear me if I don't say it out loud. And I never realized how deep that went. I was on the journey of dying. I'm not sure if I actually died. I wouldn't be surprised if I did. And I had a choice. At a certain moment, I was on a beach. So I'm physically on the ICU. They're doing everything they can to keep me alive. And I'm somewhere in time and space, in the past, in the future, I have no idea. And I'm on a beach. I walk in the water, in the sea, in the shore, from the shore in the water. And I knew if I just keep walking, I don't have to go back. It's over. I didn't hear a voice, or nobody told me I had to go back. I didn't see a tunnel of light. All I knew was if I keep walking, it's over. And I didn't walk. I didn't go through. I turned around and I woke up later on.
Wow. Well, that's
I
beautiful. I'm glad you came back.
Yeah, there were a lot of occasions where I somehow thought, well, it would have been easier if I didn't make it.
So you felt a certain sadness as well, right? When you came back into the body, in the physical body, it was. I mean, on one hand, you knew you're gonna go back because there's still something you need to complete in this lifetime.
I
But
was aware that I was dying. That's the whole weird thing, because I had these experiences where I was ill, but I didn't connect it to myself. So I wasn't sad to go back. But when I woke up, I was completely terrified. I was frozen from fear, and I had no idea. And people were trying to help me, and it took me a long time to realize I survived that for a reason. So if I go to 2018, where I started exploring my interests for crystals, and I started seeing those angel numbers, and I was in a lot of emotional pain. I just broke out of a toxic relationship, and I didn't know why I was feeling so miserable. It took me 2 years to realize, okay, this is a relationship that was a copy of someone from my childhood. And I was an emotional drinker. I didn't get addicted. Spirit did something why I had to break out of it. But I was close to getting addicted to alcohol. And I knew I had to heal. I had to go through the dark night of the soul. And I became homeless for a very short period of time. I tried to commit suicide and I survived.
Mm.
And I felt at a certain point in 2019, I lost everyone. I was alone. That was so painful when I look back. It felt so lonely. That was my dark night of the soul, and I knew I needed to heal.
Right.
Not healing was not even an option. There
No.
was so much anger. So I did everything I could to heal. And in the past, I used a lot of therapy and other stuff to heal, like trauma therapy. I've used medication for years, and I realized that's not the answer.
Right.
Those are tools to help me, but it's not the complete answer. So I started to implement holistic particles like crystal healing, meditation. I started feeling. I got messages from someone whose cat had died, and the cat wanted me to reassure that owner.
Right.
And it scared me, and also I wanted to help, but my crown chakra was too open at that moment in time, so I was starting the wrong way. Basically, I
Right.
was getting too much input, and I didn't have done the healing to be grounded enough. So
You couldn't integrate it, so it's just it stirred you even up more up, right? You was like totally confused.
So I think I've explored a lot of religion path, or I've been a Christian for a couple of years. I've been always very interested in witchcraft or Wicca, magic in general. And I don't think if I have a huge connection with Atlantis or Lemuria. If I look at the archaeological research or documentaries about it, I have the inner feeling knowing that Atlantis is not something that was physically on Earth. I personally believe that it's something that was already there outside. And the ancient cultures that we know now, ancient Egypt, the Aztecs, they have a really big common thread. The Bible, they all have common themes. The same stories in a different jacket, so to speak. So,
Well,
but
we're human. It has to go through our filters. Everybody
Yes.
has different experiences, so we perceive things differently.
But I don't believe it's a coincidence that so many cultures and religions have basically so many stories and ancient wisdom in common. And I have the feeling that that Atlantis is one of the big origin points for humanity. And I'm not sure how that's connected to star seeds, but I think that, again, Atlantis is not a physical island on Earth. I believe it exists, but not the way we think.
I get what you mean, but the Atlanteans, that was a civilization like the Romans, right, or like the
Yeah.
Greeks. So basically, these were the ones that. So you must have heard from the Anunnakis, right?
I'm sorry, I can.
Anunnakis.
Have you heard of the Anunnaki?
The
No.
Anunnaki. So basically, these are the cedar races, extraterrestrial cedar races that agreed to have this experience. So the project, I always call it the project Earth, right, and human beings, and Mother Gaia and everything. But it is not one race. These are 12 different races. So basically, the races from the 12 different zodiac signs that came on Earth, right? So Lemuria was one of the, Lemuria was the first attempt for them to actually create. So that's what some people call it, the real Garden of Eden, right? So that was Lemuria. So that's where they created the human as we know it now, right? With
The Atlantis pseudonym for it.
No, Atlantis came afterwards. So basically, in Lemuria, it was the divine feminine energy actually ruling Earth. But then the divine masculine. So I mean, I can't go into depth, but basically, they didn't achieve what they wanted to achieve, and then they split up. And the sun created Atlantis, which was a very masculine energy driven civilization, right? And that went wrong as well, and that is corresponding actually with the Great Flood, with Noah and the Great Flood. That's actually when Atlantis went down, right? And then from there, they spread all over the world. So part of them went to Egypt, and it's the ancient Egypt, their theory. Then some went Far East, really Asia,
Mayans,
where you have the serpent, the serpent energy, which was the divine feminine energy as well. And then we have America as the whole continent, where they're supposed to bring those two together. So you got the Latin America part, which is serpent, again, the Aztec and the Mayan. And then you got the Northern American part, where it represented was the masculine energy, where you see the eagle, right? That's why a lot, there's the eagle in a lot of different flags. And you got in the Latin American part, you got the serpent and the eagle. For instance, Mexico, that was where they're supposed to come together. And what's in their flag? It's a serpent with the eagle. Just look at the flags of the countries. It tells us so much more. It's not just funny creatures. It is actually our past, all the civilizations that's try to spread all over the earth, right? And
Yes, because
complete.
if you look in the feminine energy was for so long. The feminine energy was not dominant, but it was more prominent, and it was more equal with masculine. So there was a lot of peace, and then it went down, so to speak. So we've been in the patriarchal culture for centuries longer, and it's shifting. It's shifting, and I use Atlantis as a metaphor for the Earth experience. because I know most people know Atlantis. The name speaks to people. Lemuria doesn't to many people, but it's basically the same energy somehow. I'm not sure how to explain it, but it's the same, except it went wrong on Earth, on
Well,
Atlantis. So what you
you're
told me.
right. They call it the fall, right? The fall
Yeah,
of Lemuria and the fall of Atlantis. And the reason why is because it was all experimental. It's the great experiment, right? So they come here, they seed the planet with different DNA,
yeah,
and then they kind of watch to see what's going to happen. And I don't know. I did a lot of research. If anybody's interested, I believe they killed him because he was very healthy, very vibrant, and then one day he just ended up dead. So probably when that happens, I start paying attention to their research, because that means that they were on to something, and wasn't meant to be heard, or there are people that didn't want it to be heard. But his name was Gerald Clark, Gerald Clark, and he was researching and learning about the Anunnaki, and he was researching Sumerian texts, the Nagamadi texts, the hidden, or the Dead Sea Scrolls. He was looking at all the ancient languages, the way they've been interpreted, and it was just really interesting. Um, Personally, I think he was onto something, but I don't think he quite had it right. But if anybody's interested in learning about the Anunnaki, I would say him and Sitchin probably have the closest accuracy. Like I said, I don't know a lot, but I channel. And when I channel, um, in the beginning, I would channel anything, and I thought it was all divine. And now when I go back and look at a lot of my beginning channelings, I was channeling a lot of separation. You know, oh, you're the chosen one. We're the chosen ones. We're gonna win the war, and and now I am so enlightened and awakened to the frequency of love and acceptance that when I channel, I protect my energy, and anything that comes in that tries to build a hierarchy, I'm higher than you, or I'm better than you, or I recognize it right away, and I won't channel it. I'll shut the channel down, and I'll ask for higher self, higher self. I'm like, no, let's go higher, because it's all consciousness, right? Wow, it just started really snowing hard. And so when people talk about things, I get an inner knowing. Like I can feel the vibration of the stories that they're researching and that they're doing. And I got kind of my own internal lie detector, I guess you want to say. I can feel the vibration of love and source energy. And so I feel that he was close to truth with his research, but he wasn't quite there. You know what I mean? It was going through his filters and his experiences, and I think he experienced some trauma and was projecting some of his own personal trauma and experiences into his research. So, if you do any research, keep an open heart and an open mind. There's a lot of really, really on point research that he did, deeper than anybody else I've ever found. But I do believe that he was demonizing the whole, instead of, like, humans, there's always good, there's always bad, right? Same with the Anunnaki. There were good Anunnaki, there were bad Anunnaki. There's good reptilians, there's bad reptilians. There's good grapes, there's bad grapes.
You had this I felt that about you when I met you and talked about Dominati. You had this negative feeling about
Right.
that, and I told you no. both. They were both, right?
Right.
Like let go of they were not bad, nor were they good. They had a purpose, you know.
Right.
And as we know, it's duality, right?
Right.
On these
Because
density.
always people assume that um, good is everyone wants to be good. Everyone wants to do good. Generally speaking, wants to be put themselves on a pedestal.
Right.
But if you assume that you're never making any mistakes, and you split those two into separate things, because it's always somehow, it's always connected. It's not just good or bad. It's not against. It's always one. And we only have to transmute it. We only have to heal our own pain from past lives, this life, ancestral wounding. If we
Right.
can heal that, then we don't have to um, make our own pain into an external factor and call it something evil.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. The way spirit channeled it to me is hurt people,
Yeah.
heal people. And I believe my purpose on this earth right now is to help people heal their shadow, heal their inner child, heal their ancestral patterns and woundings. Because, you know, I just taught a course on this. I believe that we're walking through the Akash, especially those who resonate with being twin flames or divine feminines, divine masculines. We're kind of bringing in a new operating system. And through this, we're walking through the Akashic records personally in one lifetime. Like we have past life recall, which Evelyn said that she had, you know, when she was ill. And then we start looking, it's like a roller coaster ride. You really don't, I mean, you chose it before you came here, but while you're here, you get thrown into this huge awakening, and you're literally going through not one lifetime, but many, many lifetimes of trauma, of your own personal trauma. And then you're also transmuting the trauma of your DNA, what's stored in the DNA. You know, if dad was an alcoholic and dad's dad was an alcoholic and dad's dad was an alcoholic, or I believe narcissism is an affliction. I believe people are born. I mean, it could be predisposed that way, but they're all maladies of dis-ease in the body, which creates an external way of presenting, right, through their filters. And I believe that I cleared lifetimes of ancestral karma and trauma in this lifetime. And for me personally, it didn't feel like a choice. It came on me like a wave, and I wailed. I didn't just cry. I wailed. I had voices coming out of me that didn't sound like my own voice. I had memories of negative experiences that I had or created in other lifetimes. And I believe what's happening is we're leaving the age of the Iron Age and we're entering into the age of ether, and it's a new age. And vibrationally, we're ascending into a higher frequency, like the earth herself is amping up and her frequency is raising. And and that creates a physiological shift in the body. And in order to do that, in order to integrate the light photons, you know, we must become less dense. And so you have to do the purge, right? You got to have that dark night of the soul. You've got to have the wailing, the screaming, the crying, the past life recall. I mean, it's surrender is what it is. It's the ego lying down and saying, you know, the past is the past, and we need to grieve it and release it and let it go. And so we're evolving mentally, physically, spiritually, evolving, like literally evolution. We're going into a whole new archetype, a whole new beingness. And in order to do that, we have the way showers, you know, not somebody that's better. Spirit tells me it's not the chosen, it's simply those who chose, right? Everybody is going to eventually evolve. You can't resist evolution. It's going to happen one way or the other. But you can resist the process. And the more you resist it, the more painful it becomes. And the more painful it becomes, the less you're able to resist it. And then eventually you'll change one way or another, right? Or there are souls that are choosing to just exit the planet. They're like, this is too painful. It's too hard. There are people who are just, dying left and right. But Spirit shows me that they come back because this is such a great, powerful time of change that souls want to be here for it. And so, a lot of them are kind of taking the route of purging physically instead of emotionally. And then they come back in, and then they come back in the light body that they couldn't create in the physical. And so they're born into the new light body, the new energies, the new DNA. But a lot of the divine feminines and divine masculines are the new template. It's the new operating system. It works. If you know anything about the twin flame journey, they romanticize it. They try to make it into, oh, it's true love. No, it is the mirror. They're the mirror. When you look in the mirror, the only thing you're going to see reflected back to you is your shadow. So if you're afraid of abandonment, you'll get abandoned.
That's the Merkaba. That's
Right.
all what we do here, right?
Right.
Light
Masculine. So when you look at masculine as the trinity of the divine masculine and the divine feminine, you overlap them, inverted, it creates the Merkaba. It's yeah. And it's
that's all it is.
right. So I could preach on this for hours, and the truth of the matter is I don't know anything about it. All I do is open my mouth and stuff comes out, and as long as it feels like it's the vibration of love, I allow it. And if it feels like it's the vibration of separation or hatred, or I'm better than you, or you're better than me, I just shut it down. I'm like, nope, we're not going to channel that. That's not truth as far as I'm concerned. But I do believe that a lot of people right now are running the twin flame template, but not all of them are twin souls.
Unconditional love, right? That's Christ consciousness.
Unconditional love.
Again,
And it's love of
not
self.
romantic. It is what it, that's what we have to allow in right now is Christ consciousness, and Christ consciousness is unconditional love, and that's what twin flame supposed to show externally. Is like we have these two souls or split souls, representing opposites, right?
Right.
To make it very hard to accept and become unconditional love. So you can.
I think that's the reason why, because it's a hot topic, twin flames, and it's really romanticized, and it's
Wrong.
yeah, it is because it's really I'm not sure if I have met my twin flame, but if I did, then I am convinced that it's painful.
So painful.
It's like if you haven't healed, whatever you haven't healed, you're gonna see it back, and that's hell. Especially if you want to run away from yourself. So that's
exactly.
That's so painful because people make it like make it like a popular theme that you would watch on Netflix. It's not.
They romanticize it like oh, that's my one. No, it's just you, and it's the bad version of you in another body there to mirror back to you your bad behavior that you have hidden way down inside of you. Like I said, if you have a trauma bond or a trauma wound around abandonment or control or sexual abuse or any kind of I like to call it just if you have stereotypes if you've been programmed to believe all men are this or all women are that or all of life is this, and you're operating from this lower vibrational belief system, whether it's something you experienced or something that you were trained and taught through, news, Disney movies, cartoons, we're programmed, right? Religions, we're programmed to believe some of these negative belief systems, and you're spoon fed it your whole life, And I was a Christian. I was spoon fed the idea that if you have money or if you're abundant, you're part of the evil system. It's like money is evil. Money is evil. If you have money, you're part of the bad guys. So I'm working through a block for abundance. It's like when abundance comes in, I immediately feel like I've got to give it away, or like having it is somehow a bad thing. And so, oh, you bless everybody with it. Yes, you can bless others with it, but you should bless yourself too, because we're all supposed to be equals. It's not they're better than I am, so let me give them everything and I'll be destitute the rest of my life. And so I believe that the twin flame journey is the integration. We had the masculine rule, we had the feminine rule. I'm better than you. No, I'm better than you. Well, I'm stronger than you. You're the stronger sex. You're the weaker sex. And what we're doing in this lifetime, I believe, is creating a balance and harmony between the two. The Merkaba is bringing the divine masculine, the divine feminine into perfect alignment, like a yoni, like two circles overlapping, masculine, feminine, and in the center is the womb. It's 0 point energy. It's like, I'm not masculine, I'm not feminine, I'm not strong, I'm not weak, I'm not this, I'm not that. I am all of that. All of that lives within me, right? The good, the bad, the strong, the weak, the feminine, the masculine.
We have to understand that from the duality we are presented in 3D, we become non-dual, we rise up to this non-duality awareness of it, but not experiences it as as the opposites anymore, as in like, I'm either this or this. No, right. I'm both, right?
Yeah, I know.
The reason
Go ahead, honey. I'm sorry.
I think the reason why the past couple of years there's been a lot of change in the dynamics and how to approach gender and the feminine and the masculine energy, and how that's connected to the divine feminine and the divine masculine energy. And in that part, at least personally for me, the awakening was really combined with the Kundalini. So, and Kundalini, it's divine feminine and divine masculine. And for thousands of years, maybe longer, there was this polarity and the war against men against women, women against men, and now it's balancing. It's ascending, so it can heal. Both masculine have to heal the feminine within, so they become less aggressive, and it balances more to more balance between passive and aggressive.
Right.
Vice versa. So if women are not healing their masculine side, they are staying very passive. So you see a lot of women becoming very assertive, which you see on the political and everywhere on the news. It's happening already, and it's a painful process, but we have to go through that purge as a collective to heal that.
Right.
To go to the 0.0 to the yoni.
Exactly.
Which I just earlier.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah. And so it's an internal alchemization that will present externally once it's integrated. So, you know, this whole idea, I was so programmed, because when I awakened to the twin flame journey, I started researching, and the research is bullshit. There's so much, and I bought it hook, line, and sinker. You know, the whole romanticized, well, this is my person. This is the person I'm supposed to marry, the person I'm supposed to have children with and build a life with. And there will be couples that choose that with their free will. But for me personally, it's a different kind of love. It's unconditional love. It's like the love a mother has for their child. Or like no matter, I saw a meme and I posted it on Facebook. It said there will be people who don't love you no matter what you do, and there will be people who love you no matter what you do. Go where the love is. And well, for me personally, my twin loved me. I know he loves me unconditionally. But when he faces me, I mirror back to him the feminine side of himself that he denied. That, you know, crying is for wusses and babies, and you know, you have to work hard every day of your life in order to achieve anything. You got to climb that ladder of success, and all of these programs that we've programmed our children with. I remember when I raised 4 boys. I remember people getting mad at me because my little boy wanted a doll and I bought it for him, you know, and I'm like, what's wrong with a boy loving children? I mean, you know, anyhow, I'm not going to get into that. But for me personally, my masculine, when I look at him, I see the part of me that I gave up growing up. I didn't assert myself. I was a a doormat. I loved everybody so deeply. I let them walk all over me. I never stood up for myself. I never had healthy boundaries at all. It was like you could say or do anything to me and I'd forgive you for it. Right. And I was really, 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 really distorted feminine, and, you know, codependent, needy, always looking for validation, always looking for attention. You know, I remember stories from my parents saying Tracie would dance in front of us and say, look at me, look at me, look at me. And, you know, that's what children do when you don't look at them, right? When you don't give them that attention. And then they fall into that codependency. So in our home, it was like Leave It to Beaver. My dad was the ruler of the home. He ruled with a very gentle hand. He was a great guy. I don't have any complaints about my parents at all. But it was definitely distorted masculine, distorted feminine. My mom, you know, she would flip out when dad would say he was on his way home. She'd be like, hurry up, let's clean up the house, let's put the dishes away, let's do this, let's do that. I want your dad to come home to a nice home and a cooked meal, and be able to put his feet up. He worked all day. And so I was programmed with all of that, and that's distortion, right? It's distortion. And so my twin is that distortion. You know, he mirrors, he's an overworker. He works himself to the point that he's literally dying. His body's not supporting him anymore. He puts in anywhere from 12 to 14-hour days, 5-6 days a week. I don't think he's cried in eons. He takes on the weight of the world and believes it's his masculine duty as the provider, as the, you know, and I was just the opposite. I was, you know, codependent. I'm like, oh, let me do this, let me do that. I want to help this person. Yes, helping people, but I mean, there's a way you can do that with a balance too, without the energy vampires and people taking advantage of you. So when I looked at him, all I ever saw back was the part of me that I denied myself. And it rubbed me wrong. It triggers us, right? It really pisses us off. We're like, ooh, why do you want me to be like that? That's not my nature. That's not the way I am naturally. But actually it is, right? They force you to create boundaries. If you don't create boundaries, they'll keep stepping over them. and they force you to kind of nurture and love unconditionally, because you can't get rid of them. It's the first thing you think about when you wake up. You think about them all day long. It's the last thing you think about before bed. And anytime you come into contact with them, there's that energy exchange that just rubs you wrong, because it's completely the energy that you deny yourself, saying it's bad. Right? And so when
um, I think we should let Evelyn talk.
Okay.
I invited her.
Sorry.
So,
You get me on the whole topic of this journey,
yeah,
and
that's why
boy,
I interrupted you now, because I'd like to hear from Evelyn. Evelyn, so did you have a key moment where you realized self-love is really what you needed to learn in order to be able to progress on the journey?
I just try a little to understand what you're saying.
Huh?
I can't I can't very. Can you repeat your question?
So, did you have a key moment or key experience where you had to understand that self-love is really the key for you to progress on this journey?
Yes. I don't think there was one particular moment. It's a process, but no, I don't have one moment where I realized the self-love is so important. I do realize back people who knew me back then tell me you're completely different than how you are now compared to back then. But to me, the self-love and boundaries are a process, and it's still building. Just like we all learn new things every day, and it would be really, oh, it's one moment and I am bubble of self-love and I feel everything. That's not true. I haven't. I'm still learning. I'm still making mistakes. I'm still ashamed of things I do or say, or I get pissed off because someone pushes the wrong button and I get triggered and then I get angry. So if I just think, when I say that, it's the self-love comes in when I can forgive myself for making that mistake.
right,
I think that is so crucial, because if it's so easy to stay angry at yourself when you're in pain or when you're triggered, or but if I can forgive myself, then I can forgive the other, and vice versa. Staying bitter and angry is the easiest thing to do, but to forgive myself when I'm triggering or when I'm lashing out at myself, or then that's, I think, the biggest part of the self-healing journey.
right,
To forgive yourself, and if you can forgive yourself, you can also forgive the people who hurt you.
right.
People always
Yeah.
assume if you forgive someone who hurt you, then you can move on. No,
No,
that's not,
no.
because the biggest problem is not forgiving the other person; it's forgiving yourself.
Yeah.
Right.
And because you were vulnerable, or because you couldn't defend yourself in as a child, and to keep blaming yourself is the easy way. The high road.
Right. I agree.
What's that noise?
My furnace kicked on.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, what would you say? Where are you at right now? So, what are your, let's say, most important next steps you want to take in order, to reach your um desired goal or desired, mission, or are there
Well,
certain steps ahead of you right now?
I started writing the blogs a couple of months ago, and then the site originally had a different name, and it's new and now in a new format. It's Ascension of Mother Earth.nl. So I changed the format. I am also translating the Dutch articles and blogs into the English version. Although I English is not my first language, so it's a trial. It's an experiment. Um, I'm not sure. I hope maybe I will write a book one day.
Yes.
And I would really like to invest my own healing capabilities because I know I have them, but I'm somehow unable to tap into them because I have some blockages. And I know that, I'm aware of it. And um, I think the most beautiful thing of connecting with you, Ju, and Tracie is that we can all build together because I'm different than you are. I'm different than both of you. It's we're all so different, and that's what. Um, for example, a couple of years ago, it would intimidate me. Right now, it's just more adding to um, growing process. To know that it's healing together, to ascend together, to reach out to people who are um, not. They think they are helpless, but they are actually not. They can heal themselves, and the only thing that we can do for people who are hurting right now is um, reach out, but also, and that's the hard part, to realize we can't do the work for them. And that's, for me personally, one of the hardest things, to take a step back, because I suffer when I see others suffer. So I have to, yeah, I have to, I'm really a humanitarian. I have high expectations. I project them into others, and then I get disappointed. But I also realize it's everyone's own journey.
Right.
It would be arrogant of me to assume people would not have their own free will and make their own mistakes, because I've made my own mistakes.
Yes.
And I'm convinced I will make mistakes in the future, because that's so part of growing.
Right.
From the purging, it's healing.
Yeah. So what I think it's you still have struggled with your lower chakras, right? So that is
Yeah.
why healing is not possible for you at the moment, because you need this grounding and also this acceptance and finding peace with your physical body.
Yeah.
That's a hard journey too, right? So that's what we, especially as women, physical women, we've been we've been presented with all this ideal of how a female body is supposed to look like, right?
Right.
And we are constantly confronted with those pictures on online, and then to find yourself, you know being acceptance of what you see in your own in your own mirror, right? It's so hard.
Right.
So
It is.
it is so hard, right? All these beauty concepts out there, and if you're not part of that, then you're not beautiful, right?
Hey
So
guys,
i I just have, I mean, this very little, I mean, it might be
can you see
silly,
that? It's 11:11, just as she
Yeah.
said that.
right? So it might sound silly, but just, stand in front of the mirror naked as God, as you're born, and just stare at your body and look at each part you have an issue with, and just start loving that part, you know apart from all what you see around you, what's supposed to be beautiful. you know I used to have issues with my thighs, right? It's like, I mean, I don't have big thighs, but I thought I had. I would stare at my thighs for hours and just, look at little pieces of it, you know, not the whole thing, right? And then you don't see that, oh, it's a thigh. No, it's just a part of me, and that part of me is as lovable as every other part of me, right? But just try to, you know, find peace with what you chose. At the end of the day, that's the physical vessel you chose, right?
Right. Well, when I went through the process, I'm still going through it, but the biggest process of learning to love my body, because I abused my body for years. I mean, I hated it so much I almost destroyed it. And when I went through that part, I channeled the prayer, God grant me the serenity to accept what I cannot change, courage to change the things that I can change, and the wisdom to know the difference. And so I was 347 pounds. That was a choice, and I could change that, right? But the other things, you know, being short, being, you know, big boned, being, I was a tomboy growing up, you know, I wasn't very feminine either. And the things that I didn't like about myself, I had to learn to love. And what helped me with that is reciting that prayer. You know, it's like, if you can change it, if you're not happy with it, change it so you can be happy. You don't have to, but if you feel like you have to, do it. And what you can't change, learn to accept with peace. And nobody's perfect, you know. It's like when you fall in love with somebody, you don't see their flaws, you don't see the warts, you don't see the wrinkles, you don't notice the things that they notice, but they do. And vice versa, when they look at you, they don't notice in the morning your hair standing up on end, you got bags and dark circles under your eyes. All they see is the love. They see that they love you and you're perfect in their eyes, right? Well, that's unconditional love, and that's what we're trying to create here on this earth, is love and acceptance of what we are, not what we should be, not what we might be. Of course, we want to, right, we want to challenge people to create their happiest life, not not what makes us happy about them, but their own happy life. You know, whatever you need to do to create the happiest life for yourself in a loving way, not in an abusive way, then I want to encourage people to take whatever actions. If you're heavy and you want to be thinner, you can handle that. That's something you can create for yourself. You don't have to. There's going to be somebody out there that's going to love heavy women or heavy men, and they're going to like every lump and bump and bulge, right? But it's about self-love. If you're not happy with your with something that you created, because literally I created that 347-pound person, and then I hated on it. Oh, you're so fat, you're so ugly, nobody's ever going to love you. Why do you stuff your face every time you're emotional? And so, you know, that prayer really helped me. Grant me the serenity to accept what I can't change, and then the courage to face whatever I need to face that made me create it to begin with, and start creating something better so that I can find happiness with what I've created, basically.
Well, I one of the things that is something that comes up again and again is that when I was on the ICU, I'm aware that I could have chosen to leave on the beach.
Right.
But when I woke up, I had huge scars. I was depending on medical treatments for years. And I'm aware that at some point I wanted to blame myself that I didn't walk away at that moment.
Right.
And that's a circle that's coming round. It's on a loop. Like, why am I blaming myself for the fact that I chose to come back, to not leave? Because I survived something that is medically not even possible, but I did. And knowing that with my head is different than with my heart, let alone with my lower chakras, so to speak. So that's something I'm working on, and I've been working on it. Well, I've tried to work on it for a couple of years, but it's the dark part of yourself that you want to deny, that you don't have control.
Right.
At some point.
Right.
And that's where the self-forgiveness comes in.
Right. So the one thing that was channeled to me over and over and over again through song lyrics, through things like bumper stickers and Christmas ornaments and stuff is, you are not alone. I can't tell you how many times I would hear the Michael Jackson song. I'd be filling my tank at the gas station and I would hear it playing over the sound system. I'd hear it on the radio. It would come across my YouTube feed. And then I started seeing, like Christmas ornaments and stickers with the phrase, you are not alone. You are not alone. And then Spirit put on my algorithm a video about starseeds and volunteers that chose to come here in order to create change, in order to support the ascension of mankind. And the video was called You Are Not Alone. And so I was being pushed by Spirit to create this podcast to connect people who are going through this process and have no one to talk to, no one to support them, nobody to help them make sense of all of these huge transformative emotions and experiences that are metaphysical, are supernatural, in paranormal. And so I am so grateful that we have found each other. And I just want to end the podcast by saying, you are not alone. And you are part of our soul tribe. You can reach out to me anytime, day or night. If I'm awake, I'll answer. And it's a journey that begins with a step, and then there's many, many, many steps in between. And I don't think we ever really arrive anywhere. I believe it's a constant journey. You'll hit some peaks and some valleys, and you'll celebrate the triumphs at the peaks, and then you'll grieve and mourn in the valleys. But I just want all the people in the world that are having these massive awakenings to know that they are not alone. And so, Evelyn, when we stop the podcast, I'd like for you to share the link with me to your blog that you write. And I would like to link that underneath the video so that other people can read what you're inspired to write, because it's beautiful and it's on point. And it's probably the reason why you chose not to go into the ocean or the water, because your experiences, as painful as they are going to help other people having those experiences to see that they are not alone. You may not ever show them how to fix it. You may not ever be able to take the journey for them, but we can all be here to show each other that this is a journey that we are not taking alone. There are many people all over the world right now awakening and going through these experiences, and it's painful, and want them to have connection. So if you would share that link, we'll link it underneath. And of course, Ju and I share our links so people can reach out to us. And there's the community that we created over on Facebook. We're expanding into BitChute and Rumble and Telegram. I haven't linked those yet because I'm getting used to the platform. I want to make sure I know what I'm doing before I start inviting everybody over there. And Ju's got a few platforms herself that she's exploring, learning how to use. And I just want, Spirit brought it to me as the globe, the earth, the planet, with these little star beings or light beings all over it. And it's like a broken grid. There are some that are connected and some that are all alone. And my intention with this is that
The banner I have on my
say that again.
the header, the banner of my website, that reminds me of what you just described. The earth that with a light, small lines
Right.
in the cracks.
Yeah. And so the hopes is, because we are not the only ones doing this. Spirit's putting it upon hearts all over the globe. Create community, create community, create community. And so I'm hoping that eventually that grid is going to be so strong, it's going to be like a network all around the globe, and it's going to help us move from the age of iron into the age of ether, connection, community. I mean, that's what Aquarius is all about, community, connection, and electronics. You know, it's not just electronics, but what's the word I'm looking for? Advanced technology that is part of helping us. It's like the very evil thing that was created is actually being used for good, you know, to connect everybody together that have been alone. And so I am so grateful you came on. I love you from the bottom of my heart. We are friends. We're soul tribe. Just know you've got a friend, that you're never alone. I don't care where you are. I don't care if you're out in the middle of the woods and you're having horrible thoughts. If I'm awake and able, I'm right there at the other end of that phone if you need me.
Tracie, I want to I'm just very grateful. I feel really connected to you. You know that. You feel that, and I feel this beautiful connection. I feel so. It's like we're a soul tribe,
right?
I mean, the hashtag is on the Facebook group. I know that, but it's the network, the dots are connecting. It's beautiful to be part of that. We're able to contribute to that. Thank you both.
Right.
Thank you
And so make sure, everybody, to share. If you know anybody who's struggling, anybody who is awakening, anybody who has gifts and talents that have been demonized, or they're told that, you know, they're evil or they're bad or whatever, connect, share, and never be afraid ever to shine. Just shine as bright as you can shine. And the opposite of that too, don't be afraid when you can't shine. Embrace that too, because there's purpose in it. Okay, so thank you very much. I'm going to end the podcast here. Anybody who's watching, if you would like to connect with Evelyn, or if you would like to watch her daily blog, it is beautiful, and I am so grateful that she's translating it into English. I think you're doing a beautiful job. I understand every word. There's nothing lost in translation that I've noticed. So thank you for doing that, because, you know, there are people all over the world that need to hear what you've got to say.
Thank you.
Okay. And Jew, I love you. Don't hang up, because I'm going to talk to you for a little bit too. All right. Bye-bye, ladies.
Bye.
Bye.
Merry Christmas. If you celebrate, happy holidays.
Merry Christmas, right? Totally forgot.
It's Sunday. It's creeping real fast. All right. Bye-bye, ladies.
Bye-bye.